Welcome to the Shergroupie podcast, where we share ideas on how to help businesses grow and prosper in the online world. Join host, Chief Shergroupie, Claire Sandbrook, as she discusses her digital journey and how Shergroup is helping thousands to keep their business flowing and growing. Here on the Shergroupie podcast.
Hello everyone, it's Claire with the Shergroupie podcast. How are you today? Well, today I wanted to record this message about growing your business in 2023. 2022 is nearly behind us, and for many people it hasn't been an easy year. Even if their business is flourishing, then on the home front, costs are rising. And everyone is coping with that across the spectrum. So we understand that we're all looking for ways to increase our sales, increase our bottom line, and to grow our businesses in what is a challenging post-COVID environment. So how are we going to do that? Well, this podcast is designed to give you some ideas, and hopefully you can take some takeaways on what you might be able to do for not really spending a lot of money in the year ahead. So the first thing I want you to look at is your website. Do you know much about your website? Because Google does. Google is tracking your website. Google Analytics is the tool that looks at all the traffic coming and going on your website. And so if you haven't got a handle on Google Analytics, that's something you may want to dig into in the year ahead, because Google Analytics can start to tell you who's visiting your site, not by name, but by number of people, and what they like on your site and what pages they're visiting on your site. So what's working for your audience? That's important, so you get an understanding of that. If you're flatlining on your website, and Shergroup was in that position 8 or 9 years ago, then you'd probably have to take it back to the drawing board and re-evaluate. Don't junk it. Just re-evaluate what you have got on there and then look at repurposing it. That's a word that we use a lot in digital marketing. And it basically means that we just tweak it to make it Google friendly. And we also tweak it to build up the traffic on the pages that you want people to visit. And the pages that you want people to visit on are where you're showcasing your product or service or what you want to tell people about that will get them hooked into seeing your brand and you as the go-to people for whatever it is that you do in business. So your website is really the center of your online shop. I always think of Shergroup.com as our online shop, and the reason that we change it around and we dress it up is because it's like our shop window. And so I like to see it looking nice and a bit funky. Unlike a lot of my competitors, I've struck out for something completely different and built a digital marketing team so that I can keep refreshing my shop windows just like you see on the high street in a bricks and mortar store. That's how I view Shergroup.com. The next thing that I'm going to ask you to do and look at, which is completely free, is to look at your databases in your business. You've probably got a database in your finance department. You probably have a CRM system. You might have some kind of order or case processing system or case management system. And what you might find is that data is being captured in various parts of your business, but it's not actually being built into an email list where you can actually contact all your customers. Now, if you can pull these databases out of the current systems they're in, Salesforce, Xero, QuickBooks, any sort of software worth its salt will export information for you in a CSV file or an Excel file, and particularly a database that's got a phone number in it and an email address for a customer. See if you can pull all that data together and then align it into one big spreadsheet. Pull it all into one big spreadsheet. Make sure the columns, so the name is all lined up, phone numbers are all lined up, emails are all lined up, and pull it into one big spreadsheet. And when you've done that, dedupe on the email address. You'll have created your own email list. You might have 20 customers on there. You might have 2,000. You won't know until you do this exercise. But I did this a long time ago, and all my data was being held in different databases, and I pulled it all out. And I had to sit there for a little while and pull it together, a bit like knitting. It's a bit like knitting a jumper. You have to pull it all into line. But once you've got it in line, you can sort it. You can put a filter across the top, and you can sort it by name, email, those that have got phone numbers, those that haven't, those that have got emails, those that haven't. And you can go to your team and you can ask them to fill those gaps in. And over the weeks, you'll complete your database, you'll complete your mailing list. And once you've had that, then of course you can think about how to email all your customers at once to let them know about new products and services or good news stories, case studies, whatever you want them to know about. You'll have a mailing list that you can do that. Now, of course, if you have customers who have personal data, you will have to or should have consent on file to be able to use that data for the purposes of emailing. So just check your GDPR position on any data that you do have. But if it's business to business customers and you've done business with them or you're talking to them about new business, then you will have what they call under the data protection regulations, the GDPR regulations, a legitimate business interest. And therefore you don't need their express consent. Again, I encourage you to seek advice on that. Just check your position. But you may be surprised, pleasantly surprised, to know that you can do more to contact your B2B audience than perhaps you realised without getting tangled up in GDPR red tape. If you've looked at your website and you've looked at your email databases and you've built this start of a list, then you can go to list companies and you can build up more of the same. So let's say you're a company supplying widgets and your target market is double glazing companies. You can buy a list of all the double glazing companies in your area, nationwide, in Europe, maybe beyond that, and you can build up an export list. So you can build data. So use the current customers that you have as what they call customer avatars to learn about where else you could be selling. Shergroup is in the process of doing that. We have some very clear avatars. Solicitors are an avatar for us, accountants. We also have avatars, local authorities. I mean, none of this will be a surprise, I hope, to you. But we then look for more of the same. So that's another thing that you can do to build up your list. So you've now got your website, you've got your email list. Let's talk about search engine optimization, the dark art, I like to call it. You can go to a website, Neil Patel, Uber Suggest, UberSuggest, and you can set up an account for free. And he will start to tell you about your website. He will start to tell you about your keywords. And if you dig into Neil Patel's tools, then he'll start to tell you about your competitors' keywords. And what you have to do from that exercise is really build content, write blogs, produce podcasts that are tracking and including the keywords, not for your competitors per se, but really for your business. Of course, your competitors are part of your business arena, so their keywords become your keywords, and of course your keywords become their keywords. but it's the art of building content, writing content, doing videos, doing show notes to videos. All the written words that you can produce, even around podcasts and videos, become content that Google and YouTube get hold of, and they begin to up your ranking. So keywords are very important. You can also do, of course, Google Ads. Our experience of Google Ads, we have an expert who works with us on Shergroup's Google Ads. I think in the early days, you need to understand who your audience is and you need to understand your keywords before you launch into Google Ads, because it can be very expensive. And you have to go through some pain to get to a really smart Google Ads set of search terms. But it can be done. We've certainly spent a year doing that, and it's been very, very worthwhile. And we have people now that turn up in Shergroup that we would never have reached through our mailings or through our social media. So I think Google Ads, if you can get an expert on board, is a very good way to enlarge your audience. Then there's the social media platforms. So we are building our social media platforms on every platform: Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, because we have some fabulous artwork for the Shergroupies, and YouTube. And week by week, we add more followers onto our analytics. Now, we don't have a very groovy subject to talk about on a lot of levels, although we do have our TV show called The Bailiffs, and that's definitely helped our traffic. But I think what most businesses do is they're going about their business and they're trying to find ways to attract people into the Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn. And what you have to do is you kind of have to repeat that content on all of those channels and then see from the analytics that all these channels have in the back end what is working for your audience. And then you tweak it. And what we've learned in our experience of social media is it's got to be quick, it's got to be funky, it doesn't need a lot of text, and we've got to jazz it up. And so we've built our own social media calendar. So we build our calendar out and we change our content around, but we have a plan. And I think it's a challenge. Getting business from social media is a challenge. I think it's much easier to get social media by building your emailing list and by building Google Ads. But it may be different for your business, but that's been our experience. And through social media, you need to include the links back to your website so that people can come onto your website and find the page, preferably where they can buy the product or service that you're talking about, or can link to whatever it is you want them to link to, so that they get back to that page. And so that becomes yet another driver of traffic. You could say to me, well, I'm very busy as a business owner. I don't have time for all this. And I fully and utterly understand that. I spent 5 years researching this and building Shergroup's own digital marketing website and all of the topics that I've talked about today, because I couldn't find anyone to do it for me. I couldn't find anyone that would build each part so that it all joined up into a cohesive whole. If you find that you're in the same position, you can follow what I'm saying in this podcast, but you can't find anyone to build your website and then build your mailing list and then give you the analytics for your audiences. Shergroup has now a solution for that, which we are promoting separately through our brand Shergroup Digital. And I'd be very happy to talk to you about that. But first of all, I want you to take a critical look at your website, because that's your online store and that's where everyone goes to when they're looking you up. So we have to get that right. Finally, why is Shergroup talking about digital marketing? Well, first of all, I love the subject. I think it's fascinating. I think it's the future. And there will always be a need for the high street. There will always be a need for bricks and mortar, offices, shops, restaurants, etc. But it's just like the golden arches at McDonald's. The way that you position yourself online puts you head and shoulders above your competition, just like McDonald's put that big yellow M high up so that people can see it coming up on the road. This is what your website is doing for you. It's giving you that presence and putting you above the rest of the competition so that people can see you and want to come and have a look at you. So let's all hope that we're going to be McDonald's in the future, right? Because that's a very successful franchise. But there is another reason why I want to do this, and this is because I think it's a very muddled approach to digital marketing. I think people are trying to do it piecemeal. They're trying to offer a website, and then somebody else will do social media, and then somebody else will do the mailing list, and nobody is putting it together as a strategy. I want to help business owners pull it together as a strategy. I'm very committed to that. It took me a long time to do my own, and I think, there's a lot of people out there who need help. Why is that important? Because I want businesses to succeed. I've spent most of my professional life dealing with businesses that have failed. And you know what? It's a bit of a gloomy old world. And so what I really want to see is businesses succeeding. And it's time. I'm able now, because my business is succeeding, to give back. So if I share this insight with you, then maybe some of the ideas you'll pick up on and you'll put them into practice, and you'll see an uptick in your traffic, an uptick in your sales inquiries, and an uptick in the bottom line of your business because you've grown your business. How fantastic is that? And if it means that we keep you out of the clutches of the legal system, that of course Shergroup is historically known for, then the purpose of this podcast has done its job, which is to help you grow your business and continue to grow your business in the future. So I hope this is useful to you. If you've got any comments, then please leave them for me or message me directly. You can find me on all the social media channels and on LinkedIn, Claire Sandbrook. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear for your views and whether you think that I'm in tune with what's happening, and how have you conquered your own digital journey? How have you got to grips with this fascinating subject, which can give us all a lot of grey hairs trying to deploy strategies to make it work? I look forward to hearing from you, and as always, thanks for listening to the Shergroupie podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Shergroupie podcast. To join our Shergroupie community, subscribe by going to our website at www.shergroup.com. Keep up with the latest Shergroup news across all our main channels, including YouTube, LinkedIn, and across all social media. Stay connected and begin building more business relationships.